Hello! Welcome back to my channel, and in today's video I want to talk to you a little bit about different kinds of pencils and color pencils that I use in my sketchbook, because there are a lot of you that have asked questions about what exactly is the type of pencil that I use, what is the lead that I use. So in today's video, that's what I want to focus on. Now, before I start talking about any one of the particular pencils that I use, I want to stress that you don't need all of this, obviously, and I'm actually going to share a little bit about my thinking why I choose to use some of these more frequently compared to others. And it's not at all because of how good a particular brand is, or, how much I like, or the quality of the pencils themselves. Primarily, the reason that I use some of these more frequently compared to others is because of the purpose that I use these for. Now, the purpose that I'm trying to, it's a routine that I'm trying to establish. I'm trying to establish a routine where every single day I spend, even if it's 10 minutes, okay, just a little bit of time, focus on improving art. And that means putting pen to paper, pencil to paper in this case. And I need to establish this routine. I need something that's, low maintenance. It has to be quick. It has to be, just low maintenance. I can't struggle to figure out how to use it. I want to just pick it up and go, right? And that's the main purpose that I evaluate these tools for. And you probably can, if you follow me for a little bit of time now, you probably see that I post regular videos. And the other thing I'm really looking for is just flexibility, right? I really want to make sure that there is some kind of variability, and I could pick and choose, and so a wide range of colors and some changes and some variations where if I look at the reference photo and it's, a moody kind of atmosphere in the portrait I'm trying to create, then I gravitate towards a cooler color rather than a warm tone, and so on and so forth. Or if it's an image that gives me that really warm and fuzzy feeling, then that's a sign to me that I want the image to be, or the finished product, the finished sketch to be a little bit more warm and inviting. So variation is another property that I look for. But above all else is what I mentioned before. It has to offer immediate value, no hassle to maintain. And I, some of the things, for example, I also look for is the fact that there's an eraser on the back, as an example. I don't really like pencils that, it doesn't have an eraser on the back. To me, that's like a little bit lower value. What else? So I mentioned variety, can change it up. I mentioned ease of use. Oh yeah, I guess the last thing that I look for is that how solidly built it is, so that it doesn't break easily. One example is, so I have this SumoGrip pencil. There's nothing wrong with it, to be honest. Like, it's just that, I don't know if you can tell, but it's plastic, right? So I have the really bad habit of like twirling my pencil sometimes when I'm thinking. And there's also another black one that I bought that's in 0.5. After a few drops, it shattered and I can no longer use it. So, solid build. Since that one, I definitely prefer the ones that are a little bit higher quality, where the mechanical pencils feels a little bit heavier and more sturdy, right? All right, so with that said, let's get into it. I want to offer you an in-depth review of the mechanical pencils that I use, what are the ones why I use them, and which ones that I actually use pretty much every single day, as well as the pencil that I actually use for a lot of my sketches. So first of all, I do use a lot of mechanical pencils, and I think I mentioned earlier why I use them, right? It's just because it's so simple to use, so simple to pick it up. You don't need to sharpen them, right? The only surprise I get a lot of the times is the fact that the lead runs out in the middle of my sketch, because I do timed sketches. They're usually around 20 minutes. I don't set up a timer, but I hit record and I can occasionally look at how long the recording has gone through. And as soon as I see it's like above 20 minutes, in my head, I'm like, okay, I gotta wrap it up. This is it. I gotta wrap up this sketch, and this is all the time I got. So, you know, you can see that sometimes it's a bit of a rush situation. Some of the drawings, I do tend to get overworked on the drawing itself, and what will end up happen is I ended up spending too much time in one stage of the drawing that I would have liked. So when that happens, and if I run out of lead in the middle of the session, it's really stressful, because then I'm like, oh, I have to stop and put in another lead, and that puts a break in my flow. And especially if, let's say, I only gave myself 30 minutes max session and I have something else lined up to do immediately afterwards, which sometimes happens a lot because I do have a full-time job, and sometimes I get a break in between my meetings, and I thought that would be a nice break for me to spend some time on drawing. So I do have another meeting lined up, or I also have kids to feed. So you know, sometimes I'm lining up, I gotta go pick them up, or I gotta make them lunch and things like that. So these things are really just uncalled for. So I hate surprises. So the only annoying thing that I don't like about mechanical pencils is that there's no way for me to know how far along the lead is. I hate surprises so much that I don't even use wireless mouse or wireless headset. And it's for the precise reason of I don't know when the battery will run out. So same thing here. I don't know when the lead will run out. So that's my only annoyance about mechanical pencils. But other than that, they're just so flexible, right? I'll share with you the lead that I use. I have 0.5 and 0.7s. And as you can see, I stick to blue and red. And that's just because, you know, a lot of times when I look at a reference photo or like, you know, the type of drawing I want to create, I'm either in a mood of, you know, more blues, more cold, versus, you know, sometimes I'm having a different day and I want it to be more warm, and so on and so forth. So really it's just between the cool tones and the warm tones that I'm looking for. And that's the reason why I really have blue and red to choose from. So they are from different brands. The 0.7s, they're from Pilot. I guess it's called Color Eno. Yeah, Pilot is one of the largest brands, I believe, in Japan. So, and then the other one, I think this is also from Japan, to be honest. It's called Uni Nano Dia color. So the beautiful thing about these is that they're erasable, and if you mess up, feel free to erase them. And the other thing I like about them is the fact that they're really soft and they're very smudgeable, right? So while they don't give as large of a surface area when you start sketching with it, you can smudge it with your, you know, tissue paper or pen or your finger. Again, if I don't do time sessions, I will prepare better smudging tools. But when I'm in like a time session, there's only 20 minutes to go on a single sketch, I just use my finger. That's what I have available. And that's another reason why I prefer the type of mechanical pencil where there's an eraser at the back. This is a new one that I got. It's from Tombow and it's 0.3. Yeah, so definitely. Eraser at the back is incredibly important. This is the 0.7 that I use, also with eraser at the back. This is just really convenient, right? Because when I have this thing in hand, I don't need anything else. This is the only tool I need to grab, really. Now, if you were to ask me, don't you use other erasers? I do, right? But usually that's when I'm at later stages already. Like, for example, this eraser, this beaten up eraser, I only use this when I messed up real bad. I have to start over or something like that. And usually that doesn't really happen in a time sketch. If I actually messed up so badly I had to start over, that session is ruined already in my head. I would probably just abandon the drawing altogether and pick it up, maybe like a brand new page sometime in the future. So I almost never use this eraser when I'm doing a time sketch. And this knead eraser, I use it late game, okay? So what I mean by late game is like, I already got the boundary down, I started shading, and I need to lighten up certain areas in a gradual fashion. So I will like knead it to, something that looks like this. And then I will dabble on it, and that's how I like to use that. But let's say I messed up, or I need to highlight in a very small area. This is the tool that I would use, right? It just it's a little bit smaller surface area, and I almost use this kind of like a pencil, as if I was adding some highlighters to areas on my sketch. Okay, so this is basically the overview about using mechanical pencils, why I like to use them, what I use. This is a lead, these are the pencils. I didn't really mention the brand. I mean, you can use any brand. The only thing I look for is just like it's solid build. Even if I drop it, it's not gonna shatter into pieces like with this all plastic one, right? All plastic, I just feel like you shatter it. If you drop it a few times, it's gonna shatter and break, right? These ones are definitely a little bit more solid built. Really quite like the build of these Pentel GraphGear ones. Lately, I think almost all my sketches, I'm gonna try to find my sketchbook and insert some drawings to show you, but almost all my drawings lately are drawn with the GraphGear, and the reason I really like them is just because how solidly built they are. So one of them is the 500, the other one is the 1000. The difference between the two is that this is heavier, the 1000 is heavier than the 500, but in terms of build quality, honestly, they're both really, really solid. I believe the number, what it means is that this is supposedly 500 yen to 1,000 yen. So it's roughly like $5 versus $10. And it just translates to how, this is basically a higher quality, right? You can indicate the type of lead inside. It's a little bit pointless for me right now because I'm using blue lead in here. And yeah, what else? So this also has a lock feature. So yeah, I don't know, a little gimmicky. I'm not saying this is a must-have feature, but this thing can do that. In terms of eraser, they do have the eraser at the back. Because the eraser requires this pulling action, I don't even use it. Just because when I'm doing a time session, I can't bother with having this action. Oh, I guess for this one I did use it a little bit. What else? That's about it. Oh yeah, this portion is made of plastic. The rest of it is made of metal, which feels really solid. But if you were to use this for a very long time, I can see potentially, this part of your finger would definitely develop. I don't even know what that's called. In Chinese, it's called jiangzi. Yeah, just like rougher. I definitely have that. This part of my my hand is way rougher compared to the rest of my hand. Anywho, this is the review for the mechanical pencil. Now I'll get into the other thing that I like to use, which is my pencils. So I do have a lot of pencils that I like to use in my sketchbook. The ones that I use the most are the Prismacolor Col-Erase color pencils. Again, they are erasable, so you can change it up, very flexible. They also have a wide range of colors to choose from, so, you know, really awesome if you can. I'm no longer bound by just, you know, blue and red with the lead. I can choose whatever color that I choose. There's just like a lot more colors, right? I bought a pack of 12. They are not smudgeable, okay? So they're harder, I would say, compared to the lead that I use from mechanical pencils, but they compensate by because they are a little bit harder, there's a lower chance of transferring them from page to page. What I mean by that is a lot of times I will draw on both sides of the paper, and if they have a lower transferable point, it is better for me because then I don't have like ink on, well, not ink, the pencil residue to covering up the previously drawn pages. So that's a plus for me. And although they are not smudgeable, because they are, you know, higher surface area, right? You just tilt it to create a shading surface. So that's how I use it. What else? There are a lot of other pencils that I use, but there are a lot of other pencils that I use in sketchbooks, but I don't use them for the 20-minute time sessions. I still love to use them. It's just like they take a little bit more maintenance. So for example, these pencils, I'm not gonna bother with pronouncing their brand or name. You can see for yourself. They're thicker, chunkier, and I like to use them just to create a different effect. They are very blendable. They're really soft. Like this in particular, it kind of gives me that 8B graphite feel without being graphite. Oh, this one's 6B, but you know, you get what I'm trying to say. So the reason that I really like to use these colored ones rather than graphite, I don't think I mentioned that before, is just because graphite gets really messy and they always ink on the other side of the page, which I just feel it gets dirtier and messier and it gets all over my hands and I hate it. It's the same reason why I don't really like using charcoal. I don't really like using soft pastel. It just gets everywhere and I hate cleaning up. Even when it comes to painting, I think I like using the ones that doesn't require a lot of cleaning up, like watercolor or gouache or acrylic. Oil, I just feel like, so much cleaning up and it smells so bad. Whereas the others, you can just clean up with water. And yeah, so I kind of explained that, why I like to use color ones instead of graphite. What else do I want to talk about? I guess I should mention I do use color pencils a lot in my drawings as well, but these are more for longer sessions. Like if I have an hour, then I'll pick up these up, right? I have a whole set of the faber-castell ones. Here, I'll show you. I do have this giant set of 120. I definitely don't put it to use all that frequently because I don't have, in the last year or so, I don't have a lot of time to spend on these. So to actually sit down and do a drawing with 120 colored pencils is rare. I don't have that time. I do have some Prismacolor. I guess it's Premier, is like people often compare this brand and this brand for you know, for drawing purposes. To me, I use them both. I like them both. It's more of an investment that I bought a whole set of 120. I don't actually use it on a daily basis. Yeah, I definitely think these are for like longer sessions when you're actually wanting to sit down and create a piece of artwork that you would feel, you know, really ambitious about. You have like a vision in mind. That's when you want to sit down and do that. Okay, I think I've covered everything. Right, the other thing I want to talk to you about is pencil is only one side of the coin, okay? Besides pencil, the other thing that's incredibly important is the paper that you use. I want to show you how different paper can be and how it could look on this paper. So this is a recent drawing that I did. So the pencil that I used for this, I'll show you. This is the pencil that I used. It's a dual side. On one side it's graphite, on the other side, I don't even know, it's called Graphicolor. It's really soft, and this particular pencil, how it shows up is very differently when it's on different kinds of paper. So this paper that I have it has a very rough surface, and anything applied on this rough surface can create a gradient of effect, right? It can be very light, it can be very dark. And what I mean by this transferability is just because when you're drawing on this side, it just transfers over. Here are some color pencil drawings, again, transferred from here to here. Which is pretty ugly, but I can't be bothered to go back and fix things like that. This is drawn with just a, oh, I can't even show you. This is drawn with lead, color lead. And I definitely feel that on this kind of paper, because it's thicker and have a rough surface, you're able to achieve from light to dark a gradient of effect. And that gradient is wider and larger. The range is wider and larger compared to if you were to use a smoother sketchbook surface. And I'll show you a few examples of that as well. Okay, so this is the Moleskin sketch pad. Okay, it's the same price point compared to this one, the Art Creations, Talens Art Creations sketchbook. One is hardcover, one is softcover. One is a lot thicker. Well, sorry, not thicker. What do you call this? Has more pages. But actually, the paper itself is a lot thicker as well. This paper is a lot thicker compared to the sketch pad. And the thing that I want to show you is that, is that the color range on these are not at all the same. So, for example, on this drawing, right? This is drawn using, I think, an actual pencil, a Prismacolor Col-Erase pencil. To get this darker shade, I really had to press really, really hard into the paper, and it actually dents the paper on the other side. I don't know if you can see this, but definitely dents the paper. Whereas it would have been a lot easier to achieve this effect on the paper with a rougher surface area. This surface is incredibly smooth, okay? On the Talens Art Creation one, this is drawn with the same pencil, I believe. Well, same type of pencil, maybe a slightly different color. Never mind the transfer, but you can see that this paper is also very smooth, but it has a little bit more of a texture compared to the Moleskin. And the darkest shade versus the lightest shade is a little bit more obvious in this one compared to the other one. Again, I'm not really sure if you can pick that up, that subtle difference up, because it's not extremely obvious. And these are drawn with just the lead that I have. I think this is the 0.5 lead. Drawn with these pencils. This is a lead, and same thing. You can see that the areas that are dark is a little bit more obvious compared to a paper like this, which is a lot smoother. All of the drawings in here, I would say, are a lot lighter, and they're a lot lighter because I'm just not able to create that depth on a really smooth surface paper like this one. Okay, here's another example. I definitely would have liked areas on here to be a lot darker to create a more of a contrast. But on a smooth surface paper, you're just not able to do that, unfortunately. So yeah, pencil is one side of the coin. Even the same type of pencil on different kinds of paper, it will look different, it will behave differently. So if you are really keen on, establishing a wide range of effect, definitely go for ones that does offer that trade-off. Find the right tools is incredibly important to a successful paper drawing. So experiment and try to find the ones that suit your needs is the most important. So that is, know what you're looking for, right? I mentioned in the beginning of this video, the things I'm looking for is a routine. How do you establish a good routine? So low maintenance, hassle-free, offers a wide variety so that you don't get bored using the same thing over and over. So, some changing of colors is important. And also, solidly built. So you don't want to have to replace it once in a while because you broke it, right? And most importantly, have fun, right? Experiment. I think that's the beauty for using Sketchbook. It's that, you have so many different pages, right? And you can play around with the drawings, the different kinds of drawings. Like, one of the things I like to do is I reserve the first page to experiment. While this video, all I talked about is pencils, I wouldn't mind sharing with you, the other tools that I do use. I definitely experiment sometimes in these sketchbooks with different mediums. So I can talk about mixed media, right, in my sketchbook and how I like to use them as well. For a lot of my sketchbook, I like to use highlighter to give a stronger contrast for a lot of them, right? So yeah, I hope this was helpful, and hopefully you learned a thing or two, and let me know in comments down below how you feel about this, and I'm happy to do another video to talk about other mediums that I like to use in sketchbook and in paintings as well. Have fun drawing, and cheers. Goodbye. How do I end this?